Good Wednesday morning, everybody. How are we doing out there? No love this morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, good morning.
All
Yes,
right.
good morning.
Thank you. That is a mic check for me, you guys know. I need at least one good morning back. Who wants to get us started with some positivity, some good vibes? All right, Keely, what do you got?
I had from my open house, I had a gentleman call me back, and he said, "Hey, listen, can you come? Can we have lunch? And I'd like you to list my condo." So, yeah. So from my open house, I got another customer that wants to sell their condo in South Windsor.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And you're I think you might be sounding maybe a touch less nasally today.
I don't know.
No,
Pretty darn rough around here. Let me tell you.
pretty rough.
Yeah. The vid has
Well,
got me.
I owe you a thank you. I had mentioned a little bit about my health journey, obviously, and one of the things is just eating more fresh produce. And Keely inspired me. She's got one heck of a home garden, and my wife and I spent some time over the weekend looking at some different cedar kits that we might be able to start something. So I
Oh,
appreciate you
that's
sharing
awesome.
yeah, I appreciate you sharing your vision because it's yours is amazing, and I only hope to be able to create something that nice. So maybe this fall or in the spring, but yeah, love to be eating
Awesome.
my own produce moving forward. Anybody else have something? All right. Well, today I actually have quite a few things on the round table jotted down. So I figured we'd kind of dive into them. And I think one that could take us a good bit, and I would like some audience participation on this one, is the carryover from yesterday. I'm a listing agent. I've got 15 offers on my property. What do I do? Right. So, in my opinion, obviously there's going to be some that probably just aren't even in play. They're not even close to the asking price. You still want to have a conversation with those listing agents to just see, hey, you're $40,000 off on a $300,000, $400,000 house. I mean, you're 10% off. Just an initial phone call to say, hey, you're not even close. Where you guys, do you have some room? Right. I don't think you ever want to just eliminate people. I think a lot of agents will just say, all right, here's the top five. Let's see if we can work with the top five. I think you do owe a phone call to everybody. Some people they they may start low, but they may have some more wiggle room. I think a lot of agents don't understand how to negotiate. They don't understand how to ask for what they want. So sometimes I think you might be surprised. Um, Another thing, just right off the rip, is how was the offer presented? Right? Did they call you and say, hey, I'm going to be submitting an offer? Was there a nice email put together with all the documents that you might need? Was the offer even just, or, purchase and sale, if you're in a purchase and sale state, filled out accurately and adequately, no fields left blank? So I think there is a level of professionalism in just submitting an offer. It's why we present you guys here at Rovi with a template to be able to use. It's an email that kind of has a bunch of bullets that I think is just the baseline for writing an offer. To just submit a PDF to the other side and wait for a phone call is not the professional way to do it. Right? We should have a professional email. We should have all the docs attached. We should make a phone call, etc. All right. So let's just say, all right, we're looking for professionalism. Even there, you still might want to reach out to an offer that's in the running from an agent that didn't present professionally. You've got to understand there's a lot of brokerages out there and very little training. So there are going to be agents who are newer to the business who might have a very viable client who might be able to get your seller the terms that you want. Right? You might have to do a little bit more work working with that agent. Right? So again, we're looking for clean, nice, well presented offers, but that doesn't mean we're going to rule them out, across the board. If maybe we've just got a newer agent who has a great client who's just going to need some hand holding. All right. So let's say we've got that off the table. I would just like one thing. I don't need somebody to tell me the whole thing, but tell me one thing. Somebody raise your hand of, what are we going to do? Right. What are we going to do with these offers? Participation. What do you do? All right. I'm going to start calling on people. Angela, what's one thing that we can do? Start to sort these offers down. You're muted if you're trying to talk. Maybe she's not in a position. How about Chris O'Connor? What can we do? Margaretta, I see a hand. All right.
I'll save you all.
What do we do?
All right. We call the lender. We figure out the financing ASAP. Are they real? Are they fake? Or what's the deal? You call the lender and figure out which one's the strongest.
All right. Let's continue on the lender path. What are you going to ask the lender, Margaretta?
If they've been underwritten, are they, the other thing is if that is a huge key. If they're underwritten and that it's a real lending aspect.
Right. So how many docs have you, gotten in, and have you sent this file to underwriting? Right. Did you pull credit score? Have you gotten their tax returns? Have you gotten their bank statements? Can you tell me what type of employment they have? Meaning, are they a W-2 or a 1099? All right, somebody else. What else are we asking the lender?
I would say to have the lender call the seller's agent just to let them know if they're a good.
No, we're on the listing side, Sue. Right, we've got a bunch of we got a bunch of offers. Right, we've got it narrowed down to, let's say, 5. Right, what am I asking that lender, Molly?
I would let them know too their offer price and the taxes. If they're in front of a computer, sometimes they can run through that specific situation and say, oh yeah, there's a lot of room, or, oh yeah, that's comfortable, kind of thing.
Right. So a lot of times the pre-approval isn't necessarily what these people are able to afford. So just, hey, Mr. Lender, I've got an offer here from your buyers, Mary and Joe here. They're coming in at $350. The taxes are X. Are you feeling comfortable with this loan? If the lender says, Mary and Joe, who? Right? I've had this happen. Who are you talking about? Probably didn't take a lot of time with those clients to pre-approve them. All right. What else are we asking the lender?
The other big thing is how many of that type of loans they've done. Just if you know somebody or if you don't know them, that they're in the industry as a lender, figure out their experience.
Yeah, they're perfect. Right? Just if you've never done a deal with that loan officer, right, and you're going to see all kinds of loan officers. Hey, Mr. Loan Officer, you and I haven't done a deal together. Just curious, how long have you been doing this? Right? How many deals have you done this year? Have any of those deals fallen apart? Why did they fall apart? Have you done something different on this buyer to make sure that this deal is not going to fall apart? Right? Don't be afraid to ask these lenders questions. We need a lender that is competent, that can get the job done, that's got experience. And if they don't have experience, we need to understand then who on your team at your company is going to be helping to make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Jen.
You can also just let them know if they're buying a condo or something, because I noticed that they're not saying necessarily what type of loan it is, just to make sure that they would qualify for that loan, that condo complex, or to ask if there's a grant involved, because, just to make sure, because it might only be good for a certain town or something like that, or a certain time frame, or maybe it's not secured yet. And the other thing about underwriting is I did ask some questions about it because I was wondering what that was all about. And apparently, if it's complicated and they work for themselves, they may have to submit it. definitely to the automated underwriting, but possibly to an underwriter if it's complicated and maybe numbers are tight. But it should at least go through the automated underwriting. And depending on how experienced the loan officer is, if it's a little more simple, if it's W-2s, steady job, steady income, then, a competent loan officer would know. I guess it's really just the more complicated ones that may have to go to like a physical underwriter.
Yeah, great. And just coming back on, Margaretta mentioned product, right? The one that concerns me the most is always that rehab loan. Most of the other products, they're pretty straightforward. Most lenders should be pretty, comfortable with a VA or an FHA or a conventional deal. But the rehab is the one that you've got to be very specific. How often have you used this loan product before? Right. Another question for the lender is, how long have you been at this lending institution? Right? Different lending institutions operate differently. If they are new to that lending institution, they may not know the process. They may not know their systems. And this could hold up your loan. Okay. So again, we're talking about the fine details. If somebody is, way at the bottom of the list, they're not even close on price, you'd never consider them. We're not going to go this deep, but we should be going this deep if we're down to 2 or 3 left in the bidding, and they're very close. These are the types of questions that we should be asking. Anybody else have questions for the lender? All right. What else do we need to do? So we vetted the lender. What
Who's
else do
got
we
the
need to
highest
vet?
deposit?
Let's just talk vetting. Who else are we going to vet? Chris O'Connor, go ahead. You're muted.
I wasn't going to talk about vetting necessarily. I was just going to talk more about how I work to get the information to the sellers. I just kind of create a spreadsheet for them with all of the offers on them, listing type of financing, offer price, net price, and everything that goes along with it before we talk about it, so that they have it right in front of them to see. So it's a tangible list of what's there. And it kind of takes a little bit of my feeling out of it, because ultimately it's their decision to make, not mine. So if I'm just presenting them verbally, I feel like I could affect their decision more than I should.
Yep. So just a spreadsheet that's going to have purchase price, deposit, mortgage type, closing date, inspection date, those types of things on it. Anybody else have a different way of approaching the presentation of the offers? If you're not going to do a spreadsheet like that, I think, you're going to have 3 to 4 to maybe 5. You're going to just print them out, and you're just going to go, all right, here's the first one. And you're going to walk them through the first one, right? You're kind of going through the offer. Hey, this is what this clause means. This is what this clause means. This is what this, and then we're going to do the next one. And then we're going to do the next one. But I do like the spreadsheet approach. Lauren, go ahead.
Mine was back. Excuse me. Mine is back to who else are you vetting? And the answer is the buyer's agent.
Right. We got to vet the buyer's agent. All right. So back to vetting. How are we going to vet the buyer's agent? You've never done a deal with this agent. What do we need to do? Let's just ask questions, just like we're asking the lender some questions. Hey, Lauren, you and I have never done a deal together. Your offer is right in the running here. Just curious, how long have you been working with these clients? What can you tell me about the process that you've already been through with these clients? How long have you been doing this? Right? How many deals do you do on average? I'm just curious, because I just want to make sure we're on the same page going forward here. Do you do this full time? We have not done. Now in your bigger markets, you're going to do a lot of deals with newer agents, but I'm telling you, right? Again, if we've got one offer on the table and we don't get to pick the agent, then we don't get to pick the agent. But if we've got 3 offers and they're all in the mix, I want the agent that I think has the best chance of getting this to the finish line. I want the lender that has the best chance of getting this thing to the finish line. So we got to ask some questions. I can't tell you. I mean, just so you guys to put it in perspective, we close about 100 transactions a month on average at our brokerage. On average, we are losing 19 for a combination of home inspection, mortgage, and probably an incompetent agent.
It's important to know, even if you do only have that one offer, some of this information about the other agent. It's going to help you know how much you need to help the agent on the other side. If you know that, you only have this one agent as your only opportunity for working with, right? Knowing their experience is going to help you partake more or less in that transaction. If we know that they've only done a handful of transactions, they may need a little bit of help reminding where we are in the steps in the process and what we need to do next. Also, help them with the conversations to have with their clients through setting the expectations at all these different steps as well. So maybe, we can't use it for picking somebody, but we can use it to help us through the transaction.
Love it. What a great approach. I will tell you, my first year in business, I think it's like deal 3 or 4 for me. I think it's my listing, if I remember correctly, my listing, and I had a top producer on the other side, just a name that was like on billboards in the market. So I knew that this was a top producer in my market. And my expectation going into that transaction was they were going to try and eat me alive. They were going to catch me on a technicality. They were going to catch me on something that I hadn't dotted my I's and crossed my T's. And it was the exact opposite. It was more of a, hey, we're in this together. I will help you. No problem that you're new. I get it. They never took advantage of me. And I'm not saying every agent is going to be like this. But there are pros out there. And that was one of the smoothest transactions I've ever done because I had a pro on the other side. She was very aware that I was, green, and she was there to help and make sure that the deal got done smooth. But there was also a conversation had up front. Right. So don't be afraid to have conversations with the other agent to make sure, right? If you've got the part-time, but their offer is just that great. I've had some amazing part-time agents work for me, like doing a deal or 2 a month part-time. Right. But they would just be upfront. Hey, you're not going to get me from this time to this time. There's sometimes in a real estate transaction where it can be frustrating when you can't get the other agent. Right. Just be upfront. Hey, from this time to this time, I do have another job. It does not allow me to answer the phone. You're not going to be able to get me. That doesn't mean I'm not invested in this transaction and ready to make this thing happen. All right. What else? We've vetted the agent. We've vetted the lender, right? Let's vet the buyer a little bit more. Okay. We talked about understanding their financial position, but and this is, that question for the agent, but also for the trying to get a feel for the buyer. How long have you been working with them? How many houses have you shown them? How many offers have they written? Right? If this is their first offer, man, a lot of people can get cold feet really quick. Right? Hey, we've written a bunch. They've just lost to multiple offer situations, but they really love this one. They want to get it. That tells me that buyer probably more likely to stay in this deal, right? Versus you're in a competitive market. It's their first offer. I don't think they understand, they somehow are potentially going to get it accepted. I don't think they understand how rare it is in that market to get their offer accepted. But the person that's lost out on 6, they get it. They get this one. Maybe they're not going to back out of this deal, right? Have they backed out of a deal? Why did they back out? Was it, hey, you know what? There was a lot of little things with the last house, so they're nitpicky? Or was it, you know what? We were buying this house and the main, carrying beam was cracked and the sellers, didn't think it was a big deal and my buyers just weren't comfortable with it. Right? Understanding, are they first-time home buyers? Much more likely to back out of a deal. Versus, hey, this is the fourth house they've bought. They get the process. They get that it's a used house. There's going to be stuff wrong with it. What else? Any other questions that we might want to ask about the buyer themselves?
How secure are they in their employment?
Right? Just, hey, is there any issues with the employment? How long have they been there? Right? You guys know there are definitely some more secure jobs out there than, you know, than especially if you've got a 1099 employee or independent contractor, excuse me. All right. Well, anything else that you guys can think of? We vetted the buyer, we vetted the agent, we vetted the lender. Right. We've got a spreadsheet. We are ready to present to our seller. Anything else specific, like by this point, prior to presentation, that somebody wants to throw out there that you might want to do? At that, go ahead, Lauren.
I was just gonna say it's really important because sellers like to gravitate towards the number on the page. So to also, if we're utilizing a spreadsheet, also have some of the additional terms outlined on there for comparison purposes as well.
Yeah, I think
So-
most sellers just say, give me the highest price, right? And highest price isn't always the best. So we've presented everything to the sellers. We kind of get their take, you know, maybe they kind of give us some information that they weren't ready to give us before. You know, maybe something around the timelines. If you had one of the buyers actually couldn't close for 60 or 90 days, and, you know, all of a sudden, you know what, it's actually better for us that we get the longer closing date. Or maybe somebody can close quick and they're like, you know what, something changed, the quicker close. We know it's $10,000 under the best of their offer, but the quick close means a lot to us, right? And they hadn't expressed that before. So we're really trying to have a conversation about the different, what do you like about this offer? What do you not like about this offer, right? And so hopefully they're going to divulge some information that maybe they haven't told you before. And now we're going to go back and we're going to use the offers that we have as leverage to try and get what we want. Right? We can try and go back to the third highest offer that they like everything else about to say, hey, you know what? We love everything about this, but this lender really makes us nervous. I've got a preferred lender that I would feel comfortable with. You guys don't have to use them, but you know, we'd love to go with your offer if you guys are willing to get pre-approved with my lender. That's the kind of leverage that you have when you've got 15 offers on the table. Now they may say no, and now you've got to go back to your seller and say, hey, here's the deal. I went back to them. They're not willing to do it. Do we still want to roll the dice? But now we've at least let our seller know, hey, I'm not too comfortable with this lender, right? So your call, Mr. Seller, so that it's not never on me. I said to go with that offer. Your call, Mr. Seller, do you want to roll the dice? Margareta.
Another thing is the inspections. I think sometimes that's kind of overlooked. Depends on the property you're selling. You know, like if you know there's issues and maybe they're just a bit hidden, that maybe it's not so visible. You know, you want to also figure out which buyer will be more picky about them, or, you know, kind of have that more in-depth assessment of the risk here.
Yep. Yeah, and you guys know your properties, right? If it's something that you know there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up on the inspection, maybe we want to go with a more veteran buyer if we have that opportunity, right? Maybe we know that one of the buyers has already been in there. They brought their contractor through. Go ahead, Alex.
I was going to say, in some cases, you got to learn to look through the smoke, because in a multiple offer situation, everyone's going to tell you all of the best features about their clients, all the best features or best things about the buyers and everything. And I've had lenders who are like, oh yeah, 100%, I have this locked down tight. And we went with that lender only to find out that there was an $18,000 miscredit of something that they had to pay for, and it fell apart right prior to closing. And then I've had people who are basically, what am I trying to say? So when I'm trying to vet a listing agent and they're telling me all the best features about the buyer, instead of asking direct questions for them to get defensive about it and just tell me, oh no, I've worked with these people, they're super great. The last offer didn't go through only because of X, Y, and Z. It's like opening up the conversation to not ask deliberate questions that they're going to get defensive about, but opening it up in a way that it's like not storytelling type of thing, but getting them comfortable to be open to, hey, yeah, I've had this situation. This is why the buyers fell apart. Vetting the buyers entirely with the listing agent is also like asking, like, how many offers did they put in? How many times did it fall
They
apart
will
and
be
for what
here, but
reasons? Right. And so it's like a lot of people will always say the nicest things. But if we look through the smoke and try to just kind of figure out a different way to ask for them to be open about it, I don't know if that kind of makes sense or not, but it just seems like anytime
I think, yeah, the big thing there, Alex, I think you're getting at is just having conversations, trying to get them to open up about what's really going on with this client. Right. When you get them into a good conversation, a calm, just dialogue going back and forth. Hey, Alex, we really like your offer. You're right in the running here. Just kind of curious about these couple little things. I know my seller's going to ask, and I just want to get this stuff out in the open.
Yeah, exactly.
So we took up most of the call on this, and I do want to throw it out there. I got a few more things to touch on with regards to finalizing the offer and the presentation, etc. But did anybody have anything that they were coming to today's call that they really needed help with on a current deal that we just want to throw out? Go ahead, Jen.
It's not about a current deal. I just wanted to mention that Mar Legal, Justin Davidson is going to be at RAPV tomorrow. I think it's at 11. And I don't know if they're opening it up for Zoom or if it's just in person, but he'll have any questions. If anybody has any questions about anything, the forums or anything that's going on that's new.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else have something that just need some advice on, need some help with? Okay. Feely, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm right here.
You are.
I'm
Anything
good.
going on in your scenario that we didn't cover today, or something happened with your 15 offers, or you want to just add some color to what we talked about today?
So all these offers all of them had escalation clauses, so we kind of had to review that as well. Appraisal gaps, some had them, some did not. The one we went with was unlimited, had an unlimited appraisal gap. But no, I mean, you know what? Honestly, the squeaky wheel, what is it? What's that phrase?
Gets the grease.
Yeah, the grease. And honestly, the offer we went with was this agent rather, that called me initially before she put the offer in. She was pestering me, not pestering me, but you know what I mean. She just kept calling, hey, my God, where are we standing? Where are we standing? And I've done this for my buyers as well. And I always feel like a pain in the ass, but you know what? Honestly, nobody else is calling me. Nobody else was, saying, hey, how are we looking, on a daily? Like, she was really, really looking after her clients. And, she had an amazing offer. And then she was kind of in the running, but there was two other offers. And I said, hey, if you could match this, you guys, you can, win this offer. So she goes, let me get back to you. And she did right away. And, we went with her. So it was, the good communication, I think, is huge.
Yeah, I can't say it enough. When we see deals falling apart, that's what KB's role a lot has to do with, is trying to manage some deals that have maybe gone south, or maybe we've got a disgruntled seller, a disgruntled buyer, a disgruntled agent, and a lot of it is just poor communication. There is no phone calls. There are text messages and emails that the agent or the seller or the buyer is trying to show us to be like, look what they said. Right? You guys have really got to be comfortable picking up the phone and having conversations. Back to what Alex was saying. We've got to get them into a dialogue where the other side is comfortable, not just working with you right now, right? Keely is going to have to work with that agent for the next 45 to 60 days. Do you want somebody that you can get on the phone, that you can get a hold of? Or do you want somebody that submitted an offer and you never heard from them again? I know who I want to work with. I want to work with the agent that's going to roll up their sleeves and get this deal to the finish line, whatever it takes.
Yeah, to that point, I just can't believe how many agents just submit offers and will text you and be like, hey, we submitted this offer. Just can you let me know that you received it? You didn't even have a conversation with me, no nothing. It's just bizarre to me, you know?
Yeah. Who else wants to maybe add something? Maybe somebody else here has been in a multiple offer situation recently. This stuff is just so important, and I love having a big group like this to kind of discuss it so you guys can kind of hear both sides of what's happening, what's going through a listing agent's head in a multiple offer situation, right? What's causing them to pick your offer versus somebody else? Anybody want to just, Margareta?
Well, this just happened to me, even though the deal didn't go through recently because of that funding thing I was talking about yesterday. But the reason she had multiple offers, and I say, hey, after the showing, my buyer's interested. We're putting in an offer. What is your seller looking for? And she goes, I love your energy. I've been dealing with this other person, and they're just slow on getting back to me. There just seems to be some sort of issue. I love that you're on top of it, and I'm going to go with you. I was like, I mean, she was very forward. You normally don't hear all that. So I was like, yes. But you know what? It's just have life in you. Don't like, well, I submitted an offer. Great. Good for you.
Yeah.
Do something. Like, just bring it. Like, say, hey, I'm here. I want to talk to you. Let's figure this out. Be communicative. Be collaborative. I guess that's a good word. So
Yeah.
just
I love the word that you started with, Margareta, which is energy, right? I feel like when I have a buyer, I see your hand, Kayla, I will get to you. When I have a buyer that I know is going to get to the finish line, I'm trying to bring that energy that I know my buyer has about this property. I'm trying to bring that energy to the listing agent, right? Really explain, hey, you know what? I know you got a bunch of offers on this. You know, you priced it really, really well. Give them a little pat on the back. The marketing was great. And I know you got offers on this, but I'm telling you, these buyers are going to get to the finish line. They're willing to do whatever it takes. You're going to be hearing from my lender this afternoon. They've already been through the pre-approval process, and the documents have been submitted to underwriting. This thing is looking really, really good, but I want you to hear that from my lender. And I want to make sure if we're in the running, I want that last step back. And that's what I'm trying to get that listing agent to give me. I want the last step back. If you're close on another deal and you're about to go with somebody else because of something else that we are not offering, please come back to me. I can't guarantee I'll get it out of these buyers, but I'm telling you, they love this house. We've been down this road with them before. They've been through the process. There's a really, really good chance that I can get them to do whatever it is that other client is willing to do. So please give me that last step back.
And
Kayla.
again, this is not about lying. Sorry, just 5 minutes. It's not about lying and committing to something that you cannot commit. It's really about being real. So,
I'm not doing that for every single buyer, right? I'm doing it for that buyer that is telling me these things, right? That we've had the conversations. I know they're ready to go. Some of them, I know that they're not necessarily ready to go because I can't say those things and then go to that agent and say, yeah, you know what? They're going to back out because of the leaky faucet. Now I've just hurt my reputation too. Right. So I'm really going this far when I know I've had the conversations with my buyer. Hey, Mr. Buyer, if I go to this agent and I tell him these things, I just want to make sure like there's going to be some stuff wrong with this house. We all know it. I can't have you backing out for a leaky faucet, a loose toilet. Like we need to be all in because I'm about to put all the chips in with this listing agent, and my reputation means something in this marketplace. And it means, I think I can get us this deal, but I need to know that we're both on the same page. We are committed to this. There's no other decision makers, right? Mom and dad aren't coming to the inspection and we're going to change something. Because if that's the case and I know that, then I'm not going as hard on this. So Kayla, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm obviously a very new agent, so this call is perfect because I got an offer accepted yesterday, and I just entered into a multiple offer situation where we were accepted 22K under asking, which already blew my mind as is, and everything's been going smooth. And I think that's because of the communication. But then last night, the listing agent called me at about 11. We had 48 hours for my buyers to give the deposit. And then the listing agent, because I think we've kind of created a little bit of a bond going through this, she called me and said, hey, you know, seller only wants to wait 12 hours rather than 48 for this deposit. Otherwise, he wants to start showing the house again. And I had called my buyers and they were a little like, I mean, excuse me, French, they were pissed off by it because they were like, we agreed to the 48 hours. So it was a little tough conversation on both sides, but we just told the listing agent at the end of the day, like, if it doesn't work out, that's okay. Like, it wasn't meant to be. But we're still going to be submitting today by 4 p.m. So we had entered into a situation that wasn't multiple offers, and then it turned into a multiple offer kind of situation.
Good share. Anybody else want to add some feedback on this? I mean, this stuff is just critical that you understand where your leverage points are, what the communication points are, you know, what your options are, the questions to be asking. Any other insight from somebody who's been in one of these multiple offer situations that we didn't hit on today? All right. Awesome. What a great call today. I hope everybody took something away from this call. There was a lot in there, a lot of little nuggets. I appreciate everybody sharing. I love when these calls are interactive like this. This is a good one. I'm going to try and find more opportunities to just get you guys talking a little bit, because I just want to hear, hey, this is how I did it on my deal. It seemed to work for me. This is how I did it on my deal, and it ended up backfiring on me. So I learned that lesson, and I don't want anybody on this call to lose a deal because of this. So great shares today. Go have a kick-ass Wednesday, and we'll talk to you guys all again tomorrow morning. Take care.